Is Ukraine looking to take the town of Kopani and redirect their attacks on Russian forces? But is Russia also opening its own new axis of advance? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. It's October 7th, 2023. This is your daily Ukraine update. Let's get right into it. Taking a look at the control map, right, we have two updates of substance. The first is outside the town of Kopani. You can see here Ukrainian forces at least contesting this corner of this forested area. The belief is likely that this is part of an assault on or towards Kopani. You can see it's secured by an element of the Russian VDV Corps. This is some of Russia's best units, but Ukraine is likely attempting to expand outward its salient, given the fact that Russia has dug in hard, fixing a ton of their most effective combat units in securing this roadway en route to the town of Tokmak. You can see some of their best regiments are defending this area, which means they have to look elsewhere. But there's a problem. They can't just pull all of their forces out of this salient. And so they have to use what is available and what is nearby. And the logical answer is going to be right here. Again, taking Kopani, allowing them to expand this salient outward instead of deeper, which is initially what the thesis or the objective was in their counteroffensive. Now, Russia is running the same playbook in the northern sector, the area of Makivka. You can see here outside of really Makivka in Ukrainian hands, but you can see here Russian forces making an advance towards the town. And while I'm always a skeptic of these offensive operations in the northern region, especially given that Russian forces have taken just really 1.5 windbreaks, not exactly a ton of tactical significance here. But what is significant is that they now are threatening the town of Makivka. And there's not that many towns in this Kharkiv region. So the ability to seize even one of them, to turn, to actually occupy a Ukrainian-controlled town would be significant. It would be the first town that Russia has seized since seizing Bakhmut, Soledar, and the surrounding regions. Since then, there have been very few actual villages, towns, even one street, little hamlets that they've occupied. So just the fact that they can threaten Makivka is itself a troubling sign that Russia's offensives are returning. Looking over at the combat map, there hasn't really been any updates since our last live update. Again, you can see Russian forces launching an array of attacks, 34 in the last 24 hours, 37, likely representing a steady increase as we go into the winter. Now, when we look over at the rumor mill, aka X, Euromaidan Press, which is a very pro-Ukrainian outlet, is reporting that Ukrainian armed forces are looking at occupying Kopani. The idea, according to them, I'm a little skeptical, is that Kopani will represent a stepping stone, a support by fire position from which they can attack or pressure the flanks of Novoprokopivka. I think this is probably overly optimistic. I think more likely they're trying to occupy Kopani for Kopani's sake, expanding out their salient and creating a wider, instead of trying to get deep into Russian lines, go wider and peel back this Russian first layer of defenses. It's something that's well within their possibilities, given that they have effectively flanked Kopani at baseline, right, from controlling both the north and the eastern flanks. Guys, if you're interested in seeing some uncensored combat footage at a site where I am not subject to YouTube's onerous copyright regulations, nor can I be copyright claimed by Russian trolls, you want to become a member of combatvetnews.com. Any one of these membership tiers is going to get you access to the uncensored combat footage exclusives that drop twice a week. It's the best way we get insight into what the fighting is really like on the ground, things that the map and reporting can't always show us. And I can't even show you the thumbnails or else I'll be demonetized, but it's the best way to support the channel. It keeps me fully independent, and is a great way to stick it to the Russians, who, as you guys were on the channel last week, know launched a cyber attack against myself and a number of other Ukraine war creators. But not going to let Putin silence us. Certainly, if the Ukrainian soldiers aren't backing down, certainly an internet commentator isn't going to as well. Anyway, moving on. That's really the biggest update. ISW not updating in several days. Again, you can see, as we talked about in the video yesterday, Putin talking a lot of smack on the late Wagner chief, but really not much else in the news. Anyway, thank you guys to all the Colonel tier members at combatvetnews.com. Thank you to all our Lieutenant tier members. You are so numerous. And of course, all of our members in Combat Vet News writ large. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you. See you in the next one.